All righty. The box in your notes tells you how to do this. You actually don't need me. I'm just going to remind you of how to do it. Now, there's a problem with this. A great many of you have learned a few shortcuts to solving problems like these number questions. A great many of you have learned that. As I've been teaching for the past 17 years, I've seen more and more people showing up with a particular shortcut that works real well for these stupid number questions in math class, right? Because that's the only time you see this, right? It's a math word problem. It doesn't happen in real life. Nobody's going to come up to you in real life and say, hey man, I'm thinking of two numbers. They add to 176, and when you subtract them, you get 48. What are they? No one is going to do that, right? So when you learn a shortcut in earlier math classes to answering questions like that, that's terrific. But the problem with learning shortcuts is a great many of you aren't actually taught the long way around, which is the right way to do it. And the problem with learning those shortcuts is they work in specific situations, but they don't work all the time, which is why you guys approach every single math question like it's new, which is kind of silly, isn't it? Because math is just one big pattern, right? Like I've had you guys ask me, how do I do 1A? And you do it, and you get to 1B, and you're like, how do I do 1B? And the only difference is the numbers have changed, right? But you guys look at each question as, oh my God, I don't know how to do it. And that's silly, right? But that's because you have been learning shortcuts, not methods. You've been learning ways to do things, not how to do things, okay? That's not your fault. That's because education has become very, it's not sexy to have you memorize stuff, which is kind of dumb because really everything you do in your life is memorization. The reason people can drive is they memorize how to drive, right? The reason that you know that it's up, up, down, down, left, right, circle, square, triangle, X, R1, R1, R2, R2 to get unlimited lives on Call of Duty 12 is because you memorize that, right? We use memorizing all the time, but for some reason in education, it's become an evil word. You're not allowed to teach. You're not allowed to suggest even that kids memorize anything because some kids are better at memorizing than others, and heaven forbid anybody be better at anything than anybody else. That's not allowed. We want total equality all the time, which is, of course, when you read the story Harrison Bergeron, which you should, you will see how stupid that is. But we'll come back to that another day. So again, many of you probably have a fancy-dancy little shortcut to solve this problem. Some of you probably already have. That's fine. But of course, I am going to show you a way that works for all four of these problems, not just the first one. Okay? Okay. And that way is written out here in English. Now, all of this is more complicated than it needs to be. This is very formal in its writing, right? This section right here, write let statements. I don't care, okay? But what we're going to do is important. So the first thing I got to do is identify what I am looking for. So step one is always, what do I need? And I read this question, and what am I looking for? Two numbers. Do I know either of those numbers? Yes or no? I do not know those numbers, do I? I have number 1 and I have number 2. What is number 1? I don't know, so what do I give it in math class? A variable. I could give it X, but I could also give it Q, P, R. It wouldn't matter. What should I give number 2? Any other letter, right? Because I don't know it, do I? I'm going to call him Y. That is what I know I am looking for, correct? That is right there. Identify what I'm looking for and give variables. Number 2, write 2 equations. Each sentence produces 1 equation, usually. Here's a sentence. The sum of the 2 numbers is 176. What's sum? Add. So, x plus y is what? 176. New sentence. Their difference is 48. What's difference? X minus y is 48. Now find the numbers. And now we've taken a word problem and just built what we've been doing the last 3 days, haven't we? Now you have to make a choice. One of the 3 methods I've given you is really easy to use right now. One of them slightly more difficult, and one of them is a really stupid method to use. What's the stupid method to use here? I've given you 3 methods to solving a system. Graphing, substitution, elimination. Which one is stupid here? Graphing. Graphing is dumb. The numbers are big, right? Okay, so graphing's out the window. So now elimination, substitution. You have a choice, right? Which one is the easiest one, do you think? I like elimination because right there the y's are going to disappear, aren't they? So 2x equals 176 and 48. What is that? Right? Now I know x. What do I do with it? Solve. 112 minus y equals 48. 112 minus 48 equals y. What's the answer? $64. Now, did I have to use 112 minus 48? Could I have used x plus y as 176? Could I have done 176 minus 112? Right? Doesn't matter. Now, how many of you had a way to do that question that was different than using a system? Nobody? Oh, good. That makes me happy. So let's go on to number 2. Is it the pop question for you guys? Chocolate bars and pops?
Yep.
All right. So what are the 2 things I'm counting? Chocolate and pop, right? So what would be 2 good variables to use? C is the chocolate, sure. P is the pop. Everybody cool? Okay, now what do I know? 4 chocolate bars, 3 pops is 530. What's an equation? 4C plus 3P equals what? 5.3. And 2C plus P equals 2.20 or 2.2. Now, 3 methods. What's the stupid one? Graphing. You're not going to graph. Right? So, elimination or substitution here? You could do elimination, but that would require you to multiply something, wouldn't you? Wouldn't it? Substitution's almost ready to go, isn't it? Because what is this? Isn't that P equals 2.2 minus 2C? So now can I put this in for P up here? So I would get 4C plus 3, 2.2 minus 2C equals 5.3. And I could solve, couldn't I? Right? So let's go ahead and solve. 4C plus, what's 3 times 2.2? I can't do that in my head, Mr. Myers. So what do? Calculator. Of course, it is 6.6 minus 6C equals 5.3. Now what? Collect like terms. What's 4 minus 6? Negative 2C plus 6.6 equals 5.3. Negative 2C equals negative 1.3, right? C equals 0.65. How much is a chocolate bar? 65 cents. How much is a pop? Take that C and put it right there. And what do you get? Pop equals 2.2 minus 2 times 0.65. 2.2 minus 1.3 equals 0.9. How much is a pop? 90 cents. You can tell how old my notes are. It's been a while since you've been able to get a pop for 65, or a chocolate bar for 65 and a pop for 90. My favorite thing is when they charge you $1.50 for the little cans of Coke. Less pop, more money. I love that. And the other one I love is when they charge you for Dasani. Dasani water. The water that's in the bottle that's called Dasani. Do you know where that water comes from? The tap. In whatever spot that the Dasani bottling plant is, that is city water wherever you are. And people pay $2 for it. Which is why Coca-Cola makes billions. Because we are stupid. Because we pay money for what comes out of a tap. When we could walk 3 steps down the hall and get the same water. For free. Don't tell Coke. You know what's even funnier? If Coke has a bottling plant somewhere and they're making Dasani, and water restrictions happen because there's a drought, guess who doesn't have to restrict their water? Guess who does? Us. Do we still pay for Coke? Do we still pay for Dasani if we want it? Interesting, hey? But don't worry about it. It'll be fine. We won't waste all the water in the world. You guys will be okay. I promise. Promise. Keep drinking that bottle of water, guys. Oh, and you also might want to know that nobody checks on how safe bottled water is. City water has to be checked twice a month. There's 6 people in all of the United States that do bottled water safety. 6. Where do we get our water? Well, bottled water, it's safe. Okay. Oh, man, there's no room to do that question there. You guys have lots more room, don't you? No, you got no room either. What an idiot. What a moron I am. Well, I'm going to do this because I'm that way. Sim sim salabim. Oh, yeah. Now I have more room. So, let's talk about it. What are the 2 things I am counting? There's the startup fee and the month fee. Do I know either of them? No. So what do I got to do? Give them variables. What would be a good variable for the startup fee? Sure. What would be a good variable for the monthly fee? M. Now what do I know? After 1 month, Jen paid $260. How many startup fees did she pay? 1, because she started up. Nice job. 1S plus. How many months did she pay after 1 month? 1 month. Excellent. And what did that equal? 260. After 6 months, what's she paid? How many startup fees? 1, because you only pay a startup fee when you start. How many months? 6 M's. What does that equal? 435. What's the method we're not going to use? Graphing. What's the method we are going to use? You could substitute. You could also eliminate here, couldn't you? Because just subtraction would get rid of S, wouldn't it? So if I minus S minus S, it's gone, right? What's M minus 6M? Negative 5M equals, and what's 260 minus 435? I can't do that in my head, Mr. Myers, so where do you go? Minus 176? 175. Now what? Divide by negative 5, and what does M equal? 35. So what's her monthly fee? $35 a month. $35 a month. What's the startup fee? What do I get to do with that M now? Put it anywhere. Startup plus 35 equals 260. So startup must equal 260 minus 35, right? Which is 225. Gouda? Great. Right? Right. I'm going to go back to this one because I got lots of room here. I lie. I have no room again. What an idiot. You guys have plenty. Okay, these questions make your guys' brains hurt. And it's not because you don't know how to do the math. It's because you don't know how to read the question. And it's not your fault. You don't know what some of this stuff means. But let's see if we can puzzle it out. Is it still a word problem? Yeah. So do we have a method to deal with word problems? We do, don't we? Step 1 was count. What am I counting? What are the 2 things I need to check? Read the question. Tell me the 2 things that I'm counting. How much did he invest at each rate? So he made 2 investments, didn't he? There's investment 1 and there's investment 2, correct? Do I know how much he did at either one? So I got to give it letters, yeah? What letters can I give it? Doesn't matter. Anything you want. I'm going to use X and Y this time. Everybody cool? All right. Now, what do I know? How much money did he have to invest? So what do we know about his 2 investments? X plus Y equals how much? 2,000. Good. What else do I know? 8%. So one of my investments, 0.08x, right? 8% of X, right? What's my other investment? 10%, so 0.1y equals what? Equals what? 190. Now, what is ugly about this one? Blech. Decimals. What did we learn yesterday we're allowed to do to any equation and we'll still get the same answer? Multiply it, right? Can I multiply to get rid of those decimals? What do I multiply to get rid of 2 decimal places? Times 100. So isn't this 8x plus 10y equals 19,000? Are we still okay? Now I'm in business, aren't I? What do you want to use? Substitution or elimination? This is a good one for substitution again, isn't it? Because you've got single variables there, right? So what does y equal? 2,000 minus x, doesn't it? And then what can I do with that? Put it right there. And what do I get? 8x plus 10, 2,000 minus x equals 19,000. Then I do my math. 8x plus 20,000 minus 10x equals 19,000. Negative 2x plus 20,000 equals 19,000. Negative 2x equals negative 1,000. X equals what? $500. Now what do I get to do with that x? Y equals 2,000 minus 500. What's y? And now I know how much he invested. Everybody good? Now somebody always says, Mr. Myers, I'm never going to need to use this in real life. And I say, that's possible. But I also know that you're going to pay for stuff. And you're going to invest money and you're going to borrow money to go to buy a house or to go on a vacation. And you're going to need to know how long you got to save to have this much money, you know, all that type of stuff. That's all this math. You're all going to go shopping at the store. Do I go to Costco? Do I buy that for this amount of money? Do I wait? So I'm done with this. I'm now, by the way, congratulations, you're all done the course. I'm going to go down and get you an assignment on this stuff, not just word problems, on everything from systems. And that's the only work I'm going to give to you on. I'm not going to do a test on it, but I will put 3 or 4 systems questions on your final. Okay? Your final is when? Where? What time? After lunch, which is 12:45. How long must you stay? I'm going to give you till the end of the day, but I'm going to make you stay for an hour. And I'm not letting you out the door until you have tried every open-ended question. You cannot leave a blank. Do you understand? Why can't you leave a blank? Because I am writing the test. Guys from Victoria are not writing the test. I know what you are supposed to know. Now, can you barf on the page and just go, oh, there, I filled it in. Go ahead and try. Will I make you sit here until 2:28? Yeah. Know why? Because I'm mean. Not really. Everybody cool? Yeah, all right.